Alright, so this is going to be the third part in my custom ductwork video series, because I got a decent trunk duct I got to build, and I figured I might as well make a video of each portion. Alright, so this third video is going to be the adapter plate between the 20x20 by 4 inch filter housing and the 21 inch by 22 inch coil inlet. So what I have here, I got the rest of my 4x8 sheet of 26 gauge. I have it laid out here. So the filter housing, the OD is like 20.5 OD, and this, like I said, the coil housing is 21 inch vertical height. So what I have here, I have it laid out. I drew out 21 inches by 22 inches, and then I took the filter housing and I set it on there and I traced it all out, and I put a 1/4 inch top and a 1/4 inch bottom, because that'll be the difference. You know, I want it to be centered. I could have done high or low. I chose to do centered. High or low actually might be the better idea, but I'm gonna do it centered. You know, it'll work. There's enough meat on that, so I have something to screw into. Anyway, though, so I got this all laid out, and I'm going to take my air shears. I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to take my hole saw, drill a hole somewhere around here, and then take the air shears and cut the center of this out. And then I'll take some of this gasket material and I'll apply it on the outer rim here. Then I'll fasten this in this section here to the filter housing. And then when I take it up and actually fasten it to the coil, I will fasten the rest of the way around. I'll also apply a layer of gasket to the where the coil meets the adapter plate, and then I will, like I said in my other videos, I'll take a paint on mascus. I take a 2-inch chip brush and I'll go around it with the rubberized mascus. It's like rubber and fiberglass, and it'll work. So like I said, I already got this all laid out. Like I said, 22 inches this way. I use my my sheetrock square, or I guess it'd be my long T-square, 40-inch T-square. And this is the factory edge, so I use this as a reference. I measured to here, and I measured to here. And then, because this isn't a factory edge, I wanted it to be straight. I just had 2 points of measurement there, and then I measured across for my other edge. Pretty simple. Try not to make this thing too complicated. So I like to use the air shears. I take my my 12-inch T-square, stick it underneath the sheet metal, pops it up a little bit, so I don't have to worry about the air shears hitting. Because these are straight cuts, shouldn't have any problems. And always, the way the air shears are set up, which if you've never used air shears before, the way the air shears are set up, obviously this center tooth is the piece of media that's going to be removed. So I'm going to want to cut on, when I do a straight cut, I'm going to want to have the line be between the center tooth and the left tooth, and that'll be cut on the line. So if I wanted it to be a little bit smaller, I would have the line right down the middle and it would be removed. Or if I wanted it a little bit tight, I could do it the other way. It's kind of like when you're using a miter saw, whether you want to save the line, cut on the right side of the line, left side of the line. The person doing the measurements needs to know, or if you're doing it all by yourself, then you know. But if one person's doing measurements and then the other person is doing the cutting, you need to make sure that you relay which way you want the cut. So since I did the measurements and I'm doing the cutting, I'm going to do between the center tooth and the left tooth for this cut. what I have to say about that. I take my diagonal cutters, so we get a nice close cut. Trim this up. Trim the waist. Set down. As I said in my previous video, it's really important to have these Kevlar rubber gloves. So the way I have this temporary workbench set up, which is not ideal, I have a gap in between the two, so I don't need to do this offset. And then with this cut, I'm going to do center right. Should work out this fine. So, I know some guys are going to harp on me about this, but I'm always a stiffler for wasted materials. I always spend the extra couple of minutes to try and think out what the best, most efficient use of materials are. You ought to see the pile of scrap siding I had. I mean, I had like little tiny pieces left, so spent a little bit too much time on that stuff. So anyway, here's the layout. This area right here, this is that center support on the filter housing. I'm not going to cut that in this adapter plate, so I'm just going to go past that, cut the square out, and then this strip right here, this is actually the difference strip. So the top and the bottom is going to get 1/4 inch, and then this section is roughly 2 inches of offset. I have the filter housing set back, so that'll be easier for me to remove the filters. It'll give me an extra 2 inches of clearance compared to the filter that's actually in the coil, which is pretty tight. So. Yeah, get my block. This big boy. Also, should have done that earlier. Put the saw in first gear. Third gear, gave me a little bit more control. Just gonna go opposite corners on this. I would say there's the one dangerous thing, especially doing sheet metal in like a drill press. If you have a high-speed drill press, you're pressing down sheet metal. If you don't have that well attached, if it grips and you have or even a low speed with a high torque, which is almost more dangerous, it'll turn this thing pretty much into a blade and spin it and shear. I mean, I had my waist against it. I got 2 layers of pants on, and the fact that there was no gap, I wasn't too worried about it. But in the future, you gotta be careful of that type of stuff. I mean, let's see. Take the metal shears. So because I did these in the corner, I can make this line that way, this line that way. Should work out nice. I should stop being lazy. I should clamp this to the table. Alright, as that ends. I'll go back later with the hand shears and clean stuff up. I can't nib it a little bit. I'll get that with the pin snips. Yeah. Sometimes once you get a good roll going with this stuff, you get better luck, but like I said, I'm kind of an intermediate metal worker here, you know, I'm not a professional HVAC guy. There we go. Alrighty then. Back on the shears, or yeah, I'll go hit this one with the dikes first. Clean these up. I'll go back with these with the shears. My best pair of shears are actually my straight-on shears. Not always the best for these applications, but they'll work. Being a little inside on that one, I might go back with the air shears and see if I can't touch that up a little bit. The corners look good. Problems I run into with the air shears, I'm not the most experienced. I go a little bit too fast, and then I don't cut exactly what I want to. That one touched up, and now I'm just gonna touch this one up. I wanna not leave any excess metal sticking out where I wanna make sure I remove all the metal from this area that would interfere with the filter, because I don't want to have any reduction in airflow, unnecessary reduction in airflow. And again, this adapter plate is pretty much just to take up the space, you know, it's not a structural piece, it's not gonna have a whole bunch of weight on it. Alright, so got my adapter plate right up top. Going like this. Bada bing, bada boom. So that, the coil, I gotta measure it again. It's probably only like 5/8 of a bend over. So what I'm gonna end up doing is the coil has some pre-drilled screw, or drilled holes in it. So I'm going to have to either drill from in through this, or else I'm going to have to drill through the coil into here. I do have this let's see. I got a DeWalt right angle. It's a 1/4 inch hex shank right angle adapter. Well, got this on Black Friday at Lowe's a couple years ago, but used it a few times, works pretty good. Used it actually with hole saws. Not necessarily recommended for that, but it is perfect for this situation. So I'll do is I'll put a couple screws in this now, and then well, first I'll put the gasket material on first. I'll put a couple screws in here that'll hold it in place, and then I'll actually take it up into the attic and where the coil's already hung, and I'll use this. I'll put some more screws to the whole thing, and it should hold it all together. Alright, well, thanks for watching. That concludes this is video number 3 of custom ductwork. I really should edit these and put an intro, outro, but for right now, this is what you're going to get. Alright, thank you. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comment section. Let me know. Thanks.